All right, guys. So installation, everybody might have completed their installations. If not, please make sure you complete it. You watch the video and make sure you do it. And people who have received the YouTube link for this particular sessions, you can refer to those YouTube link videos. If you have not received the link, you can again share me your email ID in private to me, so that I can cross check it. Yeah. Okay, so let us proceed for today's session. Yesterday we have seen how to install it. Very simple steps. We will first start with VMware or VirtualBox, and first create a Linux instance. And we have chosen CentOS as Linux. You can choose Ubuntu also, or any other operating system, Linux operating system, if you have or if you can. These are open sources, so I would prefer this. And I chosen version 7 because it is a little older version and stable version. Right now, we will try and understand the Linux commands. Now, these commands are very, very important because going forward, when you install Hadoop and when you start using Hadoop services, in order to manage your files on HDFS, you will ultimately have to run Linux operating commands only, because you will be working on a virtual layer which sits on top of, I should say, XFS file system, which is the file system of Linux. So in order to interact with this file system, you need a command line interface, which is terminal. So in Windows, if you say CMD, you get this terminal. I have custom settings, so it looks white color, but by default, this is in black color, right? Windows command line, command prompt is in black color. So similar to this command prompt, we have something called as terminal in Linux. In order to launch terminal, you can say applications, and then under favorites you have terminal, or you can also go to accessories. There is system tools, sorry. Under system tools you have terminal, right? You can click on this and it will give you the white screen, or you can also say right click on the screen and say open terminal. This is nothing but command prompt for Linux. Oh, so many people did not receive, is it? Okay, that's strange. Fine. All right. Now, let us do the basic commands of Linux operating system here on terminal. The first command is ls. ls means list, right? ls means simple list the items. Now, if you want to learn more about this command, then you are going to do something called as man ls. Man actually means manual pages. It's like help document, right? I'll just say man ls and enter. Let me maximize this. And you will see ls, this is the name. List directory contents. Synopsis, ls, options and file. Description, list information about files. This is the description about this function. And these are all various arguments that I can pass to that function ls. Okay, a big list of functions will be there, right? It keeps going on, see. This is the documentation, And here on the bottom of the screen, you can see the description. It says manual page ls, right? This is the end of the file. And in order to exit from this particular screen, you will have to say Q, quit. Okay, I'm not quitting it. I'm just scrolling up because I will show you something very important. We will be using -a a lot. We will be using -l, which is long listing format a lot. We will also use, at least I use -r, reverse order, and I also use -t. This is to identify the file with the modification time. Newest files will be coming first. So what does this actually mean? Now to exit, I'll say Q for quit. I will first do ls-l. This is one of the argument. So when you just do ls, the files are alone printed here on the terminal. When you say ls-l, it is printing additional details about those files. What are these additional details? I'll talk about it. Let's first understand the overview here. So ls-l is listing the files, and you can see it is in alphabetical order with the names taken in alphabetical order. Now, if I say ls-lt, T basically means modified time. So big data is the folder which has been recently modified across all these files and folders that we have in this particular folder. Right? So recent file or folder which was edited comes at the top. That is ls-lt. If I say R, then it is in the reverse direction. The recent one comes at the bottom. For reading purpose, it will be like this, easy to read like this, right? So this is basically how we do the commands, right? Sharada Prasad, you have to focus really carefully. Do you see I have given ls-s or l? There is a space, right? It's like English, space delimiter. Focus carefully. Yeah, these are small mistakes which, right, will frustrate us. When I was learning, trust me, when I was learning Linux, where almost, I think I don't remember, maybe 2.5 or 3 decades back, I spent almost a week time to figure out how to come out of this page. This information was not there those days. It's highlighting now. This prompt was not there. Now I was clueless on how do I come out of this particular screen. I used to close the terminal, open a new terminal, and then work on it. Later on, right, some good Samaritan came and said that why you're closing the terminal, you can just press Q, right? So you have to be very, very careful with the finite details. Right. Now, this is about ls command. Okay. Then we will do pwd. This is also very easy. Present working directory. Now, I am talking about these two is to talk about the current location that we are in. So I've logged in as this user, right? This is my user ID, right? And this information I can directly see on the terminal and tell. How? By this prompt. So when you're logging in, when you're launching your terminal, the first thing you'll see is this part, right? Now that part basically is talking about the user. What is the user that you have connected as, and what is the host name? So it is user at host. My host name is HDP. I have given a very short name, Hadoop, right? For your respective systems, when you open your terminal, you will be seeing some name, that is the username with which you logged in, at the rate the host name that you have given when you are setting up the network, right? But in Linux, we can also see the user ID. You can say, sorry, ID. It will give the username, and for every username, there will be a dedicated ID, identification, right? 4-digit number. That's what you are going to see. Next, to get the host name, you will just say host name. Okay, these are the two commands, but you can get that information directly from the terminal here, prompt, terminal prompt. Next, what is the tilde symbol then? Dollar is just a separator. What is this tilde then, which is inside that square bracket? Anyway, what is a tilde? We see that in Windows also. No, not root directory. It is the home directory. When I say home, for this user, the home directory by default is given under home folder. This location is the home directory for this user. Now this home directory is represented using this tilde symbol. When I did PWD, you can see that location. If you have multiple users, then for each user, a default folder name will be created under home directory. And that will be the default location of each and every user, guys. Remember that. Excuse me. Now, root directory basically means this. This is your root directory. And this is the home directory for user root. For the root user who is the super admin, this is the home directory. When I say home directory, this particular user will have complete control on any folder or file that the user is going to work with, right? And that file or folder will reside in this location. He is the owner of this particular home. Okay. So that is the syntax that we see here. Then we have a command called cd. This is something we already know. cd is change directory. And I want to change to a directory called, let's say, test. There is a folder here called test. You can see there is one folder called test, right? So I'm entering into that folder using change directory function. Now, when I do that, you can see that tilde symbol changed to test. It is representing the folder where you are currently residing, the folder name. But if you want to know what is the complete path, then you have to do PWD. There is no other option. You have to do PWD. Right? So these commands, these are the 3 commands that I'm using, but there are rest of the commands which are given here. This is available in your line LMS. Yesterday also I've shown you. ls directory listing, ls-a. -a is hidden files. -a means show all, including hidden files and folders. cd means change directory. pwd means current working directory. Now to create a new directory, we say mkdir. Mkdir is like you're right clicking and saying new folder. Here you have new folder, right? So it's just like that. You say mkdir sample1 or folder1. So inside the test folder, when I do ls, you can see there is a folder called f1. Now, how do I know whether the content that we are seeing here, right? Or if I just say ls, how do I know that this is file or folder? That's one of the important right things that we need to understand. How to distinguish between a file and a folder. The GUI that we are using, the genome desktop that we are using, is giving these benefits. The blue color one is a folder. The black color one is a file which is non-executable file. The green color is executable file. We'll also have red color files. So these are different color differences that come into picture for different formats of the files or folders that we are dealing with. But if you're using a command prompt, yesterday our friend Nabil has installed the minimal version, right? Because the system, the version that he downloaded, the software might have been minimal version, or because his system is not supporting, it was only taking minimal installation, right? And in that minimal installation, you will not see these color differences and all that. It will be just black screen. So in such case, how do I make difference, right? That's one thing we need to learn. So when I do ls-l, which is long listing, you will see a lot of details, right? This is the date. This is the size of that content or the file or folder. Here you have user one. The first user one is the user ID. The second user one is the group ID. For every user, we will have a group dedicated. Then we have one. This basically talks about the content. And then we have something called as octal. We call something as octal. And after that, we see the first location here. The first location, right? You see either hyphen or you see D. There will also be another option called L. This represents a file. D represents directory. L represents link, shortcut. Link is nothing but shortcut. Right? So the first positioned value, when you do ls-l, will tell us whether the content that we are seeing here is a file or a folder or a link. Yeah. Clear? Next, we will talk about this octal, very important. The octal is used for user management, security purposes also. It is very important. Now, every user, as I mentioned, will be assigned to a group. Right? So, for example, you have a HR team. Yesterday, we were discussing about HR team, sales team, operations team, right? Marketing team, etc. Now, when we talk about HR team, there might be multiple people, HR1, HR2, so on and so forth, right? Now, when we have so many people, so many people in the organization, file sharing, the access permissions to different files which contain sensitive information, right? Controlling the access to those files is very important, right? We call them as ACLs, access control, right? Rules or whatever you call that. So this is something that we are trying to achieve here. So in Linux, we can do this access controls at each file level, right? Now, if HR1 is the owner of a file, right, then HR1 can give permissions to that file on what others can do. Okay, that's something that we will learn, right? But those permissions are classified as either read permission, write permission, or executing permission. Now, because HR1 is the owner of a file, let's say this is a file, he's the owner, then he has all the permissions to, right, or all these privileges to be done on that file. He can do anything. But what about the permissions for these other team members in that particular group? All these users belong to same group, okay? So you can say here HR. So this entire column will be HR. Here you will see HR user 1, HR user 2, HR user 3, so on and so forth. It could be, right? So now, if you look into this particular information here, the first one we discussed about file type or data type. We are trying to identify what is the file type, and in this you can either have hyphen or D or L. Okay, so these are the three things that you might have. Next, we will take the three positions. After this, we will take three positions, three hyphens. This is the first hyphen. This is the second, third, and fourth hyphen. Here we will either here we will have R, or it will minimum have R. Then we will have write, and then we will have execute permissions. RWX. This is read, this is write, this is execute permissions. Now these three are for the owner of that, the user of that particular session. So when I logged in using this user one, right? That's the user one. So for that user, what are the permissions on the file, on this file? Now this file was created by, or owner of that file is user one. Okay, but what are the permissions that we are giving on to this user one? User, for that particular user on that particular file, what permissions do we give? Next three will again either take R, here you can take RWX, or it can be empty. But these three files or these three locations, these are the access controls for the users who belong to the group, right? All those people who belong to this group should have these permissions. Because if you talk about, let's say, sales team, there might be 10 people in the team, and you're giving a files to the sales team. Okay, you're saying, hey, this is the leads data. Do make calls and convert them, right? Do sales. So when you do that, are you going to give access to sales one? This is the first user, give access to the people, that particular file. Sales 2, sales 3, so on and so forth. Are you going to give individually the permission? Do you think that is act? Not really, right? Rather than that, can I give the permission to all these users who belong to a group called sales? I have a group called sales group. All these users are part of that group. So if I set permission to the group, then all the users who belong to this group, will get the same permissions. If you want to change any permission explicitly for any one user, then you can set those permissions also. For that one particular user, you can do that. Right? So here we have group permissions. Then we have last three. Now again, these last three will have read, write, execute option. Or you don't have any option, or you have one option or two option. Now this is for all the people who can access the data. Right? If you have a server, all the people who have account in that particular OS or the server, for those users, what are the permissions that you are giving? So I'll say all other users. All other users means people who do not belong to this group. For them, what are the permissions you are going to give? Right? So that's the octal value. So if I ignore the first position, then you'll have like this 333. This is for the user, the current user, I should say current user. This is the group of the current user and all others. Now mathematically we assign the numbers here where R is given value 4, write is given value 2, execute is given value 1. This is how the numbers are given. You can see here octal. It's called as octal file, octal value. And using these numeric values, for read it is 4, for write it is 2, for execute it is 1. We use this command chmod, and then we give these numbers and give the file name. So this command would change the permissions. Right? Let me show you that. All right. Let's say a.txt. I'll take this a.txt. Now, what are the permissions do I have? Read, write, execute permission is not there. Then read, write, execute permission is not there, and then read. Right? A.txt has these permissions. Now, what does that mean? Read is 4, write is how much? 2, right? Write is 2. So total how much is this? 6. Here also I'll have 6, whereas here I'll have 4. Now let us give 7, 7, 7 permissions and see what happens to these values. Right? So in order to do that, you simply say chmod 777 space the file name. Now if you do ls-l to see that file, it now becomes executable file because you're giving execute option also. So all the 3 positions you are getting read, write, execute. Now you want to restrict. This is a script, for example. This is a script, right? A.txt is a script, and you don't want anyone to update it. They can use it for executing some task, but I don't want them to change the content. So what I do, I'll say chmod. I'll say, what should I write, guys? If I have to only give read and execute permissions, what should I do? 5 is the version number. Very good. 5, let's say 4. I don't want any other to execute. Only the team members can execute. So I'll say a.txt. And if I do this, you can see read, execute, write is not given. Read, execute, write is not given. And here we are not giving anything. We are only giving read permissions. Right? So that's how we alter the permissions, guys. File permissions. Chmod octal means these values, and then file name. Okay. Now let us do mkdir. This is to create folder. We have already done that, right? Under test, I have a folder called F1. So cd space the folder name and then ls. Now I want to remove this folder. I want to delete this folder. Then we use rmdir. To create the folder, we said mkdir. To remove the folder, we'll say rmdir. Now, when I do rmdir f1, it is going to delete the folder. Rmdir means remove directly. But this command will work only if the folder is empty. If it has no values. But if you have any content inside this folder, if you have content inside the folder, then rmdir will throw an error. It will not, right, remove. For example, I will create a file within the folder F1. So I'll go inside the folder. I'm inside the folder F1. And there is a command called touch which will create a file. So this is an empty file that I've created inside the folder F1. Now to come out of that folder, I say cd space dot dot. 2 dots. This would take me 1 level up from that subfolder. If I say rmdir of F1, it throws this error. Right? So if you want to delete a folder with files, then you have to use rm command. This rm command is basically used to remove the content, delete the content. Without, right, confirmation. See, when I said rm xyz, it simply removed it. Isn't it? Now, if I say rm -r here means recursive. Right? So again, I'll say touch xyz. I'll come back. I'll say touch A, touch B, so on and so forth. So I have 3 files now, A, B, X, Y, Z. These are files, guys. You can say -n. There's no content in it. You can see that it says 0. Now, I want to remove all the files within this folder. So I'll say rm-r. But missing operand, you're only giving the command, but you're not saying what you want to delete. In Linux, we have a syntax. Linux commands have a syntax. Understand the syntax. It says Linux command. There will be space. Then you will say source. Again, you'll have space and then you'll have destination. This is the standard syntax for Linux command. So when I say rm-r, you're only giving command and argument. You're not giving source or destination. Hence, it's saying missing operand. So what I do, I'll put star here, which basically means everything. Right? It simply removes all the files within that folder. Yes, Ashna, you had a question?
Sir, can I ask if, for example, we use RM or rm-r and we delete the file, how can we recover it back, for example? Is it possible?
No. You can still get it from a recycle bin. But if you're doing rm-r, then yeah, be careful. It is like complete delete, full delete. That is the reason whenever any user who is trying to do some kind of setup, right, admins especially, people who are familiar with Linux operating system from terminals, they will always practice a command called mv. They don't use rm command at all, because recovering a deleted file is a hell. You'll not be able to do it. Not possible. So what we do? We say move. MV is move. For example, I have a system configuration. Let's say I'll go outside here. Right? Let's say I have some of these files, very, very important configuration files. Let's say this is configuration file for a software. There's an upgrade or something, we made some changes, right? So this is older version. What did we do? We simply say delete rm file, rm space file. It's going to flush. Now, once you flushed it out, you realized that the changes that you have made are wrong. So that entire software that you have installed is gone because of one file is missing, right? So administrators, they always use mv command. They don't use rm. So I would rename this. Mv means move that file, move the content to a different location. And you can also use mv to rename also. You don't have any separate rename function here. MV is itself used as rename. Right? So any changes that you're trying to bring in, make sure you back up by using either cp command. Cp means copy, or cut and paste, move. Right? So these are the two important functions that we need to learn, commands that we need to learn. Now, if I want to copy a file, let's say I have to copy a.txt to a different location or into a different file, I'll say z. A.txt is now copied into a file called z. It takes all the permissions of a.txt as well. It just replicates a.txt into z. CP. You can also put it into a different folder. Right? So I will say cp a.txt. I want to make a copy of this file under the test folder. D is there, right? Directory. Under this directory, I want to save this file. Right? So now if you see the content inside the test folder, you will also see a.txt. Right? Similarly, you have Z here. the last value. I want to move this to test. Copy paste. This is cut and paste. You want to rename Z to X. Job done. Remember the syntax: command, source, destination. Right? Now I want to delete this folder F1. I'm able to delete because it is an empty folder. But if I come out and I try to delete the test folder, it will throw error saying directory not empty. So what I'll do, I'll say rm-r test. Now what is it asking? It is asking as a confirmation. RM remove write protected regular file. Yes or no? I'll say no. Do you want to remove X? I want to say no. Because I'm not removing those files, directory cannot also be removed. Directory can be cannot be removed. I don't want to get these prompts also. If I have 100 different file formats, for every file you're getting this particular confirmation. I don't want that. So what I do, I'll say -rf. rm-r f. F is force. Forcefully delete. There's no confirmation at all. It simply deletes the entire folder. You can see there will be no folder called test. These are some of the variations in Linux commands. Regularly used functionalities. Right. Next, let me see if I have to talk about anything important. Head is giving you the first 10 files, tail is giving you the last 10 files, touch is creating, RM is removing, RM-R is deleting the folder or files recursively, force to remove the file, RF means directory can also be removed, copy we have seen. If you want to copy folders, then you will say -r. -r, F can also be used. Then you have move. You want to move a file, then you will say mv command. Okay, then we have this symbolic link, LN. LN basically means link. I want to create a shortcut. Right? I want to create a shortcut. So what you do? You create a link for the file, give a shortcut. So this becomes the source, file is the source, link is the destination. Shortcut. Right? You can probably try out giving a, let's say, I want to give a shortcut to a file or folder here. I'll see what is there in the desktop. Desktop, I don't have anything. Okay, I have this path -r -00000 in this location, right? That file is in this location. Now I'll come out here. I'm in a different location altogether. I'm not inside that location. I would say -ln-s /home/user1/ax _dir and then say path. I want to give this file with a link. Now if you say ls, you will see link is given here. And if I say ls-l, you see link, it's pointing to that file. And here you can see it is now showing as L. The file type or data type is L. That means it's a link. In Windows, we call it as shortcut, right? And in order to remove link, you can remove oh, sorry, my bad. RM link. To remove that, you simply say remove that link and the shortcut is gone. Okay, that's your link. PS basically is the current processes that are working here. You simply say PS. These are the processes, nothing, no process is running, right? No task is running. Then we have top, which is basically showing all running process, right? PS is the current working process. Top is all background processes also which are running. Everything which is running. It's like task manager, we see the running processes, right? Similar to that. Then we have kill function is used to shut down any application. Like in task manager, we say end task, right? In Windows, we say end task, on those lines. Yeah. Then we have BG background, FG foreground, etc., etc. Yeah. Then we have grep command. Grep command is like search function. Right? And we have date function, calculator, the month's calendar. This is calendar basically, not calculator. Then you have time. W is for online, right? The users basically. Who am I is the user ID, right? Who is the user? I mean, what is the username? So that is also something that you can check like this. And then finger user uname is the basically giving the kernel information. You can say uname. You say uname -a. That's the big details that you're getting. It is basically the kernel information that you will have. This is the kernel version. Then we have disk usage, DU is the directory space usage. Then we have free, this is for memory checking. Right? All these are various other functions that you can use. DF and DU we generally use. DU is basically used for folder size. DF basically talks about the entire file system size. And if you say this is not human readable, you can say -h. It gives me all the details. Let's say DF -h. When I say -h, it is giving in the gigabytes GB format. DU, and you try to search for specific folder, then it will give you the size of that particular folder. 12 MB, but basically it is nothing, empty. Right, so this is how we can check the size also. Okay, then tar is something that we are going to look now when installation is happening. Tar is like your zip content. In Windows we have zip or rar files, right? tar is similar to that. .rar files. It was one of the ways to achieve compression. Now we also have GZ. GZ full form stands for gun zip. So you can tar, and then on top of that you can also do zip. Right? So if I say man tar, you get the manual page for tar. These are the examples and these are the arguments. -C means create the compression, right? Create means create new compressed file. X means extract. C means compress, X means extract, right? So that's basically the two things that we need to remember. V will also be there. V means verbose. Verbose means it will prompt on the, right, whatever it is trying to do, it will prompt on the console. -Z means we are dealing with gzip files. This is like right click and extract. When you do X, it is like extract. Right, so these are the commands you have. This is to create a tar file. This is to extract the tar file. So you're trying to create a file called file.tar for the file that you're trying to compress. If you just say xf, then extract this file. How does it get extracted? Into that same file name. Right? Inside that file .tar, you'll have the actual content, right? So it will get that name. So these are the compression related commands. We will be doing them. Then we also have network related. We'll not look into this at this stage. Network is a little complicated. We'll not go into that. Next, Control C. What is that we use? Control C for? We use Control C regularly, right? Why do we use Control C? To copy, exactly. People who are very, very familiar with Windows and keyboard shortcuts, right, in Windows, and if you're doing Linux hands-on, then there is a very, very high likely chance that you are going to kill the processes which are running regularly. Because we tend to do Control C, but in Linux, Control C means halt or kill the function. Right? So be careful with Control C. Yeah. There are various shortcuts. I'll show you this shortcut. If you have mouse, it is very easy. Yeah, Control C plus Control V is a risky thing. You cannot do Control C. Yeah, I'll talk about another shortcut which is very easy. Yeah. Control Z stops the current command. Right? Okay, Control D means log out, Control W means erase, Control U means entire line has to be erased if you're writing something. Exit is exit the terminal. Right? Double exclamation mark is repeat the last command. Rather than doing that, I would go to the keyboard and use up arrow and then execute. Right? Or we can do double exclamation. Same thing. Right? So these are some of the Linux commands you have to practice. Just run through them. Make sure you understand what is each command doing. And now let me talk about important hidden files. So when I do ls, I get only this, but when I say ls hyphen l hyphen a, then it gives me hidden files. Now in Linux operating system, anything which has dot in front of it is a hidden file, right? These are all hidden files. And I'll go to the folder here. And do I see all those hidden files or folders? Are they existing here? Oops, let me open the terminal. If I say ls, you will see all this content, right? The file and all those things, we already have seen this. But if I say ls hyphen a, a lot of additional content is shown, right? Now, the shell that we are using, this is called as bash shell. Okay, bash, B-A-S-H. You see that name also here, right? B-A-S-H is the shell. We also have something called as KSH. Yeah, we also have KSH. Right now, what we are using is bash shell, not K shell. Right? Now, for each shell, there will be system files or folders. Now, this particular shell is bash, and for this particular session or for this user, we have system files, hidden files, right? Now, in these system files, the most important one is this. This is a manual file I created, and you'll not see that. .bash rc. This is the system file. Okay. Any configurations by default the system has should be recorded in this. Okay, this is system generated file. Be very careful when you're editing this. And this bash rc file gets executed when you open a new terminal. Whenever you open a terminal, this bash rc file gets executed and it will give you the environment which is required for doing the processing. Now, I want to do some customizations as a user. I want to bring in some new softwares and all that. Right? Now, those customizations should be explained or should be added into bash profile. You say bash underscore profile. Yeah, this one. Any customizations that you do. Okay, in production, remember we will not touch this bash rc. We'll update in this bash profile. The other things are automatically generated. History is there. If you log out from something, it will give you the logout right details and all that. So for us, bash rc and bash profile are important, and anyways we are not doing production level, so we will stick to bash rc on. Now you might want to see what is there in this file. If you want to only read it and you don't want to edit anything, then you can say cat space the file name. This is all the file that I mean, to start with, it will be only this much. Only this much. That means your entire code is only these 3 lines under bash RC. Anything after hash is a comment in it. Okay. Now this cat function, as I mentioned, is to read the file only. If I want to edit it, then there are a lot of editor softwares that you can use here, right? Like just like you have Linux, Windows operating system where you have multiple options to edit something. Here also we have lot of such options. The most popular command line interface that we use is cat for read, vi for editing. Vi editor, we say it as vi editor. Let's not use vi editor because it's commands typing and all that. What we will use is a graphical interface option, which is called as gedit, graphical editor. What did you use? Vi, is it? No problem, that's okay. If I say vi, it will create an empty file. I mean, it's asking for you to write something. To quit from vi, you need to say colon. In order to get colon, you will say shift colon and then say q. Shift button plus colon button plus, once you've done that, you type q and hit enter. Yeah. If I say vi space the file name, I will be able to read the content like this. Okay, it says read only because I did not give write permissions. So to quit, the same thing, shift colon plus, once that you type it, say q and enter. Don't go with vi, it is little confusing at this stage. We use gedit as a function. Gedit is nothing but your notepad. Gedit space file name. It's like a notepad, see? Close it. Clear? Any questions till here? Okay. Windows, I'm not familiar, Ashnar. Sorry, but I have no idea about Windows. I don't even know that there is a command called batch. So no comments on that. It's like notepad. Krishnan. You type something, you close it. It asks you whether you want to save it or whether you want to close without saving. Close without saving. Do it, guys. When you do it, you'll come to me. Yeah, I'm saying, right? It is just like a Windows notepad. And we will be using this, huh? Gedit is what we will be using. Okay. So successfully, we have understood the foundational concepts which are required to start proceeding to the next level. Now, before I go to the next level, there is a function called as env. I almost forgot. Env is the environment file or a command which will tell us the environment settings. For the user 1, when I enter, these are all the files or these are all the settings which are there. Right? All the settings. The host name is there. Then we have all these, right? Path variable is there. This is important. Path variable is important. So all these are various settings that we have. Okay. There are default settings and there are some settings that I have created. So anyways, I'll be removing all that and then we'll be starting from scratch, just like how you people have. I'll have to remove that. I have not removed it. Now, the important variable uppercase letters that you're seeing here are the variable names. These are like your parameters, environment settings. So the most important system variable which we need to look at is called as path variable. So we'll say echo $path. Anything in uppercase, right, with certain commands, Linux will treat it as a variable or a parameter. And to this parameter, we are assigning some value. We may keep changing it, but we are assigning some value. Now, in order to read or in order to understand what is that value, you will say echo $path. And when you do that, look at this. All these are the settings which are defined for this path variable. Now in Windows also we have that. In Windows, we will say system environment variables. You see, and you also have path variable here. These are all the settings, right, which you are defining for your instance, path. So in Windows, you have path variable. Same way we have the path variable in Linux, which is very, very, very important. Okay. One second. All this, even in this. Okay. Give me a second. This is not for you guys. Don't do this. Okay. So this is the env that you will also see. Okay. I'm trying to see if I have something strange here. Okay. Why is Spark home set? Oh, these are all set. Fine, I'll have to remove the user and then probably try. Fine. I wanted to show something, but I think we'll not be able to do that. I'll show you the installation process Again, make sure you keep these softwares downloaded. And then tomorrow we will start installing these softwares and we will configure Hadoop tomorrow. Okay. By tomorrow, I'll also clean up all the instances and I'll make sure I have the fresh instance for you people to show how the installation process goes by. Now, remember, Linux operating system is one of the prerequisite. The latest versions, of course, are also provided on Windows, the Hadoop versions. They also support on Windows. But underlying, it has to be XFS. So when you process your configuration, right, Hadoop configuration on Windows also, it is going to convert the file system. NTFS file system is going to get converted. Okay. Now, after Linux, the another important source is the Java, because your entire Hadoop service is installed using Java service, using Java only. It is developed using Java, right? So in order to work with Hadoop services, we need Java environment setup. And for Hadoop 2.x versions, we need minimum JDK version of 8. Minimum version as 8. Right? And majority of the systems, Windows systems, they get Java JDK installed. Where do you see? In Windows, I'm showing you. Search for Java console. You see configure console, this one, configure Java, you open that. Configure Java. Then under Java, if you see here under Java, if you see view, this is the software or this is the Java versions that you have installed in your system. JDK 8, update 171 and 131. That's the instance that I have. Those are the versions that I have. Right? Java JDK environment. Okay. This is JRE versions, but yeah, we need to have a JDK versions. Now in CentOS, by default, we will have Java installed. You can say which Java. I cannot show. Okay, you guys do which Java, guys? If you people do which Java, you will see /user/bin or something like that. You see that? Okay, RAM needed in AWS. Same RAM, same configuration, Samir. There is nothing changing in cloud. Okay, basic 8 GB memory should be good enough. Okay, everybody is having the same same thing. /user usr/bin/java. This is by default given to you people. CentOS comes with that version. Then if you want to see the Java version, you can say -version. Oops, sorry, -version. -v. What do you get if you say Java -version? And you will see open Java, open JDK. It's not Java TM, right? Yes, open JDK version, yes. This is open source. Open JDK is a different version which is given. It will not help you with dealing with the Java executable files, Java processes and all that. So we need to have proper Oracle Java version installed. And in order to get Java, go to Firefox under application. Under application, go to Firefox. and search for Java JDK in that Firefox. You search for Java JDK 8. Java JDK 8 download. This Java JDK is made available in the Oracle website. Right? There will be JRE versions, SC version, software extension, right? All these things are there. We don't want all those. We want JDK. Okay, remember that. So go with download JDK 8 option here. Click on that. Yeah. Software edition development kit 8 downloads. This is, remember, in Oracle website, and in order to download this software, you have to scroll down. In order to get this software, you need to have an account in Oracle site. Now we are using Linux operating system, guys. You're not in Windows, remember. So you look for Linux options here. Okay. So this is ARM, it's not required. RPM package is also not required. RPM full form is Red Hat Packet Manager. That is like another installation form. We don't need that. What we need is a 64-bit compressed archived file. This version. So you're going to download the latest version of JDK. Right, which is 137 MB. Okay, you'll also have Windows versions, right? You'll have Sun Solaris versions also. Mac is also available, but remember we want this version, Linux version. So click on this. When you click on this, it will ask you to accept the conditions and say download. But remember, it needs Oracle account. If you do not have an account, create an account here. Don't have an Oracle account, create them. Okay. I have my personal account. And I'm using that personal account to log in. Hope it works. I don't remember the passwords. I rarely use the, it's working. Very good. So I have given the password and it is downloading the file. Right? So it says save file. This is an option. Save file. You click OK. Don't say open with. Save file. Click OK. Linux version 64-bit. Now, once you click OK, it is downloading here in the system. You can see that small drop-down arrow is there, right? Drop-down arrow that shows the download status. So it is downloading. By default, this folder goes and sits inside your downloads folder. This downloads folder. See, this is what we are downloading, right? Still downloading, it's showing. What is the version that we need, guys? We are installing Linux 64. You're not using 32-bit, you're using 64-bit. and you don't want RPM. RPM means Red Hat Packet Manager. So this is the only option that you have to download. Think guys, what is the operating system that you are using? If I say download something for your Windows, would you go and download Linux or Mac system? Option no, right? Same way. This is Linux operating system, 64-bit OS. We are installing that. Okay, so it should be downloaded. Yes, it is downloaded. Now we will be installing JDK and doing the configuration. I'll show that tomorrow. Download the folder and keep it. It will obviously ask Pawan. Come on, guys. So what? You can say student. How did you open your Facebook account or LinkedIn account? You have a LinkedIn account, right? How did you open it? They will ask to gather the information. If you're not working, that's okay. You can just mention that you're not working. You say student. It's not mandatory that you give all the details that they're asking. Okay, next is to download the Hadoop software. Remember, Hadoop is an open source software. And to download that, we will say apache.hadoop. Or you can simply say Hadoop download. And you get hadoop.apache.org. Hadoop.apache.org. I'm just showing you, we'll download the softwares. Only downloading the softwares should be for everyone. We are only downloading the softwares. We're not doing anything else. So this is an open source, right? It's a community driven, and you can download the software very simply by clicking this download option. Just say hadoop.apache.org or say Hadoop download. Click on download option. It will redirect you to this page. Hadoop is released as source code tarballs with corresponding tarballs and for convenience and blah, blah, blah. There is some information, blah, 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 right? Now I want to download the Hadoop for installation purpose. So I would go to the mirror site here to verify if Hadoop releases using GPG, to perform a quick check using SHA. These are different validations checks that we do. So I'm going to click on the mirror site. Download the release Hadoop version from a mirror site. Right? Click on this, or this can also work, no problem. I'll go with the first link, mirror site. You need to click on this. It is going to redirect you to the community-led development folder. Community-driven folder. That is this location. This is the cloud location, which has the source codes for downloading the softwares that you want, right? So click on common, this link, Hadoop common link. And you will see Hadoop software versions to be downloaded. Hadoop 2.x and Hadoop 3.x. We will work with Hadoop 2.x only. And you have only one version for Hadoop 2.x. We'll go with that. You click on that and you will see again multiple files. Choose the file which has the maximum size. Check, 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 and you see this is the file which has the maximum files, 390 MB. This is the syntax, tar file. Click on this and it will download the software. Click on that. It says save file option. Click on this. And here you can see starts downloading. By default, it goes and sits into the folder called documents. Sorry, downloads. My bad. So download these two softwares and keep it handy. Tomorrow we are going to set up Hadoop configuration. We'll follow this text file. Very simple steps are there. Small edits are required. And then we are good to go. So for example, Hadoop 2.10.1 is the version that we are doing. In Java JDK also, it is 231 update. So those are the small changes that we will do. And of course, the folders, if you are using different folders, different username, different folder names, that's fine. You can use it. Okay. So those are the small changes that we will have to make, and then we will be good to set up the Hadoop. Doesn't work out that way, Santosh. It will not work. Are you able to use Linux instance in the first place? Yeah, sir, we can do that. But I want you to do it in directly here in VM. That way you are getting familiarized with Linux operating system, right? Do it here only. Start using Linux operating system, guys. You might want to check your email ID, log into browser, connect to your, connect to your, what do you see? Email from Linux or social media from Linux, right? So start using it. Maybe, I mean, arguably, you don't want to deny that. I always favor Linux. If you say something good about it, then I don't want to deny it. Save file, I'm saying save file. Don't open with. If you say open with, it is only opening. Guys, these are the same things that we are doing in Windows also. When you download any file, sometimes it will ask us, do you want to open the file or do you want to save it onto your disk? That is the same option, open with or save file option. Same thing like Windows, guys, no change. Okay, it is taking some time for me to download. Are you seeing this internet? Are you sure? How can you say internet is working but Firefox is not working? You should not see in Windows, you should see in Linux. In Linux is the internet enabled. Then open another tab in Firefox and search. Then no, it should not work that way. Share your screen. Share your screen. Open fire. The internet is not enabled. How are you saying internet is enabled? What did I show and what did you see? No, internet is not enabled. Click on that power button, power option at the right top side. Not that. Right top hand side. Click on that. Wired off. It's clearly saying it is wired off. Now you have internet enabled. Okay. All right, guys. So we are done for the day. You can just download these two files and keep it ready. What error, Sharada Prasad? Bad request. Share your screen. Wait. Okay. Save file. You've already, okay, it's asking you to download that. You already downloaded it. Click on that arrow, small arrow button. At the right side top. Right top. Right side top. Little down. Besides the address bar, yes. Click on that. Download is happening, right? In fact, you have downloaded it twice now. You can click on that folder and you will see that it is downloaded already. Where is this folder created, guys? Where is this folder downloaded? What folder did I say? You have the downloaded, right? It's a zip file. Don't double click it. It is a zip file. You have to extract it. We'll extract it later, tomorrow. Don't worry. We'll understand that. We're not done the extraction. We're not installing it. Just downloading and keeping it ready. So no problem in your system. You've downloaded it properly. All right. Good night. Thank you. Downloads folder. But by default, it will be in downloads, everyone. Not downloaded, there might be some issue. We'll have to rectify that. Yeah, Jyotsna, you share your screen. Nabil, for few, it is already added. For few who have not got added, I'm taking their email IDs. That's the reason I asked you to ping your email ID here. Yeah, whose screen is this? Jyotsna, log in. What you're doing? Go ahead. Click there. This is screen lock, screen saver. In Windows, if you get logged out of the screen, what you do? Yeah, Jyotsna. In Windows, if your system gets logged, if you don't work on it, if you keep idle, your Windows system gets logged out, right? You'll see screensaver. Then what you do? Yeah, Jyotsna, what would you do? Now then enter. Click on that. First click there on the screen. Anywhere, click on that screen. And now say space or enter or anything in keyboard. Enter the password. Okay. What is the error that you are getting? Okay, let me unmute you. Now you can unmute Jyotsna.
Hello.
Yeah.
Sir, it got locked, sir.
Oh, that was the issue, is it?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
I click on that particular thing, what it is showing, but it is not resolving. That is why I have.
Sure. Okay.
Okay, thank
So
you.
you know how to download, right? You have seen.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay.
All the things already I did yesterday, and today I will do that JDK and all this.
Very good. Okay.
Oh.
Yeah. Okay, this is the file that you have to download. 390 MB. Yeah, the file is 390 MB. Where did you get site.tar? Not site. This is the file, 390 MB. There's no site or no SRC. Nothing. We'll do that tomorrow. We will be doing it tomorrow. I have not shown anything. I just asked you to download. That's it, Shiva. Yeah, Shruti, share your screen. Okay. Click on that arrow here on the right top after the address bar. Click on that. You have downloaded so many times. Huh? It will be there in Windows, downloads folder. Not in Windows. In Linux only, you'll have folder. Okay. Oh, okay. Minimize all this.
Hello.
Yeah, Shruti.
How do I minimize this, Sharon? Okay, I'm sorry. Sorry.
Yeah, this also minimize. Go to desktop. There is folder home. Double click. Downloads folder is there.
Yeah.
Download.
Yeah.
Download JDK.
Sorry.
JDK, you have not downloaded that.
So what is this?
This is Hadoop, right? You see the name.
Okay, then where is the one which I have downloaded? Which is a Hadoop. No, I've downloaded Hadoop.
Yeah.
JDK. Yeah.
Click on that. Click. Scroll up. It's index. Okay. Search for JDK download option Google.
That's where I got stuck with. Yeah, it's asking me to sign in. So
Yeah.
I did sign in with the account. And this is where I ended with.
Did you log in? So do a Google search again. Go back. Search for JDK. JDK download. Yeah, you can just say JDK download. Yeah. Scroll down. No, not that. Not that. Scroll down. Yes. Linux 64 compressed archive file. Yeah. Click on that. Here you have to give that username password that you have created. Invalid username password. So you have to cross check.
Okay, this is where I'm not able to do it. I'm entering the right password, but still.
You need to cross check if you are able to connect directly on that website. Open that second tab.
Because I even received the email here. This one, right? Okay.
Now go to the second tab.
Okay.
Here, say view accounts. Are you able to download here? View accounts. Sign in. Use that username password that you have to sign in here and see if you are able to do that. So the username password is wrong. You need to reset. Yeah, better reset it.
Okay, is the username our email ID?
Yes.
Okay. All right, then I'll try it from my side, not to waste your time.
It's just that reset your password and you should be able to do it.
Okay. I'll try that, Sharad. You can look into someone else's issues if you want. I'm happy to do this.
Sure. Done.
Thank you.
All right. Okay, any more questions, anyone? Okay. All right. Good night then, everyone. Thank you.